In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the cutest little scarecrows you've ever seen using Dollar Tree items, so make sure you stay tuned. Hello and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Katelyn. I absolutely love to craft and make DIY home decor. So if that's something that you enjoy, please go ahead and subscribe and give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoy it. For today's project, I am using some Dollar Tree items, so a couple of the Dollar Tree signs, and making these beautiful scarecrows. I was so excited with how these turned out. I was actually inspired by whenever I did my Hobby Lobby shop with me through their fall decor, they actually had these stand-in scarecrows, and they just made me so happy remembering whenever I used to set up at craft shows, I always sold a ton of scarecrows and snowmans, like with a little hat brim. So I wanted to try to create a cheaper version of this because I used to make mine out of heavy pallet wood, and then they were really time consuming working with wood, so I did have to sell them a little bit more pricey. But I wanted to try to make these with Dollar Tree items and see if I could make like a lightweight, easier version that we could make to display in our home. So I think these turned out so cute. They are so simple to put together and they were so fun to make. And then make sure that you do stay tuned because in this video I'm going to be sharing making a scarecrow with more traditional colors, but at the end I want to share with you a different version that I made using all neutral colors to kind of fit in with our farmhouse decor. So make sure you stay tuned for that, and let's get on into crafting. So for these projects I needed like a taller rectangular sign, and I couldn't find anything at Dollar Tree. And you definitely could use the fall square signs to put a sign together like I do, but I have these old leftover summer signs that I'm not going to be using for anything, so I'm just going to go ahead and remove those little suns. They stick out, and I could definitely save these and use these on a future project, so that'll be really fun to do. But like I say, my Dollar Tree didn't have any rectangular signs out right now. I have seen other people getting them in their Dollar Tree hauls, so I definitely want to keep checking back and looking, but these will work perfect. I'm just going to attach them together and make the base that I will need for these scarecrows. After removing all of the sticky labels that were on the back, because that is what I'm going to be painting on for my little scarecrow face, I go ahead and flip these over, and I'm going to be applying hot glue in between the two seams of these signs or wherever they meet, and then just add a lot of hot glue because I do not want there to be any cracks in here. And I'm also going to go ahead and take some jumbo popsicle sticks. I picked these up in a pack from Walmart. They're about $2 or $3 and you get a lot of them. I use them on a ton of projects, so they're definitely something that you should pick up if you do enjoy making a lot of my stuff, because like I say, I do use them all the time. And this is just really the only way that I know how to put these signs together that will have a very thin background, so it won't make it stick out if I do decide to hang these on the wall, but they are long enough to keep the boards really sturdy together. So I just make sure that I do add a couple of these to the very edges of this sign, and then just fill in the center to make sure that it does have a lot of support. Whenever I do put signs together like this, sometimes the hot glue does try to come out in between the part of these two signs, so I do try to sand that down just to make sure everything is nice and flat. I like to take some wood filler and just make sure that I fill in those wood holes. I did attach these signs where their tops were together so that all the holes are in the middle, so I didn't have a lot of wood filler everywhere, and I'm just going to try to press it down in there, and then I'll just scrape it off with this scraper. I picked this up at Walmart too, but they also have these at Dollar Tree, but these are really nice to keep on hand. For the larger crack, I did have a hard time. I think my wood filler has gotten a little dry, so I just ended up taking my finger and just pushing it down into the crack, and then I was able to smooth it out. I let the wood filler have plenty of time to dry, and then I'm taking a piece of my sandpaper just to smooth it out so it will be very smooth finish whenever I paint it. I'm also for this project going to be using one of these yard stakes. This is also from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to be using these two pieces off of it. I already had disassembled one of these before for a different project, so that worked out perfect. I was able to recycle these or reuse these for a different project. So the first thing that I had to do was remove the labels. I am also going to be using the backs of these signs, and this is going to be the wide hat brim for my little scarecrow. I originally thought that I would use the thin stake piece that actually press into the dirt or your pot. I decided that these thicker pieces was way cuter. They weren't long enough, so I will have to try to overlap them, but I really like the look of it still. I don't mind the overlap piece, and then I can also hot glue a flower or something to hide that. But I'm going to start by using some of my mineral color chalk paint. I love this color. It's in between kind of like a gray beige color. And I'm also going to use some of my white Waverly chalk paint, and I'm going to try to mix the two together, but I don't mix these to where they are perfectly make a lighter color. I like the little streaky look that it gives, and it kind of just adds a lot of texture in there. So you will see me go between adding more of the mineral color and more of the white to get that beautiful streak effect. I don't know what that's called. I just think it's so pretty, and it kind of like it's kind of like the same as like if you would have dry brushed it over the top of it, but it just gives it a different look, and I think it's really pretty. I wanted the hat of the scarecrow to be brown, so I'm using some of my Truffle color paint, and this is just a rich brown color. I love using this color, especially in the fall decor, because I just think it goes with everything so well. It's not too dark, but it's really pretty, a really pretty finish whenever it is dried. So I'm going to start painting. I wasn't sure how far to bring the paint down on this sign, so I do end up having to touch it up a little bit later, but I do try to go ahead and just kind of estimate how far that it needs to come down, and then I went ahead and painted the little hat brims the same color. You can see that this color does dry a lot darker. I think I like it a lot darker like this. And then I'm going to just kind of lay out how I want the hat brim to look. And then whenever I was satisfied with the length of it, I just hot glued it down. And I intentionally put that little overlapped piece on that side because that's the side that I'm going to be adding my sunflower over the top of that. So you won't be able to see that this is two pieced together signs. The next thing that I'm going to be using is some of this raffia. I just picked this up at Dollar Tree, and this is perfect for the little scarecrow's hair. I'm going to try to untie all of this and try to pull out enough straight pieces can kind of straighten it out that I can add this for his hair. Whenever I cut off the desired length, I just added a little strip of hot glue to my board and then pressed the hair down on there, or the raffia down on there with another popsicle stick, and this just saved my fingers from being burned from the hot glue. And I just repeated that for the other side. For the center, I did want him a little bit hanging down in the center for like some bangs, so I just tried to cut off some smaller pieces. And then after I get everything glued down, you can just flip it over and kind of give him a little haircut and make sure that he doesn't have enough hanging down that it would cover his face.
Where have you been? I've been looking for you now and then. Someone just like you.
To hold all of his little hair or raffia down, I'm going to be applying a couple of strips of hot glue so that I can lay down these wide popsicle sticks, and this will just hold everything in place, make sure it's really secure down, and it won't be like shedding or falling out around the house.
You can make me feel the way you do. 'Cause if I
intentionally left mine a little bit long so that I would be able to have more control of the length of it whenever I did flip it over. So you can see that it's so fun and easy. I really enjoy this part, just to try to trim up his hair. And I did want his little bangs to look really jagged and like straw poking out, so I did cut them down to different lengths. After I trimmed it down how I liked it, I was able just to scrunch it up, and I think it looked so much prettier when it was all messy and kind of going every direction.
You're the rain. We only need each other, baby, you know we're the same.
I decided to go ahead and add some more popsicle sticks, so this will be a nice solid piece and not wobbly, and the bottom wouldn't stick out further than the top. So I just cut a few more popsicle sticks like I did the first time and just attach those to the top, so I would have more to hold my hot glue on and be able to have more surface area that is touching the Scarecrow. I did decide to make his little hat brim crooked and pull it down further, so I did have to go in there and touch it up with paint. And then, like I said earlier, I'm going to add this little sunflower over that little overlap piece, so I ended up using those beautiful burlap sunflowers from Dollar Tree. These are one of my favorite flowers they have out right now. They've had these for the past few years, and I've just really enjoyed putting them in my fall crafts. And then I'm going to take one of these little leaf bouquets and just pull off the leaves and then hot glue them down, and I just think it adds so much color, the leaves being orange, and I love those little glittery ones too.
This California weather, it's like 90 degrees, it's making me hot and he has the same effect on me. It's just something about the way that he's making me feel, my insides are out, I just want to shout his name. My body's giving up on me, cause I don't know what to do with.
To make him look like an old little weathered scarecrow, I almost said snowman, but I wanted to remove the brown paint from the edges, and it lets that natural wood color shine through, and I just think this makes any project look so much better. I just love the look of that. And then I went ahead and just kind of went all over it, so it did have a little bit of texture in the paint. The next thing I'm going to do is be using a pencil to sketch out his face. I tried to put these little lines so I'd know where to put his little eyes. And then a trick that I always do whenever I want to make symmetrical faces, because I have a hard time drawing two eyes that look really good, I like to trace it just on a piece of paper and cut it out whenever I like the shape of it. And then I can trace it on one side, and then to get this symmetrical as possible, I can flip it the paper over and then trace it on the opposite side, and that gives him like the exact same shape on both sides, and he'll look a lot cuter than having two different size eyeballs.
I wanna run up through his hair, but I'm trying not to stare.
For his little nose, I just sketched out a triangle and gave it rounded sides, and then just kind of give him a little crooked grin. The great thing about using pencil is that you can just erase anything that you don't like. I love adding the little stitching around him, and I also gave him a few little eyelashes. So using some of my white chalk paint, you definitely could use acrylic paint for this too. I'm going to fill in his eyes, and then I'm also going to paint his nose with the pumpkin orange Waverly chalk paint, but it was awful bright orange, so I do end up going and adding a little brown to that to darken it up.
I get a little starstruck when I see him. I couldn't hate him even if I tried. Am I a little crazy to believe that I could wake up with him by my side? I know I could get his attention if I worked it all out. And I want him and I need him. He's got a one-way ticket to my heart. Ticket to my heart. He's got a one-way. Move a little closer without letting him see. My hands are shaking from the urge of being with him. I act a little dumber when I try to get his number. I'm so nervous that I'm losing grip of myself. My body's
These are several layers of paint that I'm going to be putting on there, and I didn't want to have to set and just wait for this to dry, which chalk paint does dry fairly quickly, but if you're waiting even 5 minutes in between coats, it does add up. So to save time, I did take my hairdryer in between coats, and I think what makes this little face stand out so much is outlining it with a black paint marker. I love these Sharpie paint markers. I can link these down below. You can pick these up on Amazon in a 3-pack, or you can just pick them up at Walmart, but they are so nice. They just make painting small little words or outlining this face so simple. So I try to be very careful and go around his eyes and just kind of follow my pencil marks. I outlined his eyelashes and then try to get the other eye as symmetrical as possible.
Hey, you're good at making me lose my mind, but I always come around, don't I?
I wanted him to have little colored eyes instead of just adding the black in there, so I decided to go ahead and trace that out with pencil too, so I could try to get it symmetrical. You can also do that with using the little piece of paper if you are worried about not being able to get them symmetrical. And then I'm using my moss color green paint. I just thought it would be so cute to give him some little green eyes. And then I wait for that to dry, and then I add the black in there using a black paint marker, and then I add a little light in his eye using a little dab of white paint. Please, 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 whenever you look at this craft, do not get overwhelmed or think that you cannot paint cute little faces like this, because you definitely can. Whenever I set up at craft shows, one of the #1 things people would say is, I wish I could paint like that, or I wish I could paint a face like that. And you just have to break it down step by step to make it easier for yourself. I have just self-taught myself by practicing how to make cute little faces, enough just to satisfy myself, so that's all that I'm worried about. So definitely don't get overwhelmed. You definitely can just practice on Dollar Tree boards or even cardboard and just sand it down if you don't like it. So I wanted to add him some little clothes, and I love when scarecrows have little ruffles on them. So instead of having to sew it and scrunch it up, I just fold over this plaid ribbon. I actually picked this ribbon up at Walmart, but Dollar Tree has out some beautiful fall ribbons right now, so you definitely can keep this a Dollar Tree craft. And I'm just going to fold it over until it's all scrunched up, but it's the length that I need. And I'm going to trim it down and apply hot glue to the top. And this will just let the bottom kind of hang off and out and not just be attached to it. And I think that gives it a really cute effect. And then I'm going to fold over the sides around the back so they will hot glue and stay securely on there. I'm also going to make a cute little raffia bow that I will be able to attach to his clothes.
And I know sometimes I'm bringing you down, but I always make you smile, don't I? We're like the waves on a big blue stormy sea.
But that finishes up this little guy. I absolutely love how he turned out. I'm so excited about him. I think they are beautiful. Every fall home needs a scarecrow. These are so cute. I definitely recommend indoor use. These are lightweight. You can hang them up on the wall. But if you want to set these out on a covered porch only, I definitely recommend adding some clear coat to them. I just think they are so cute. I think my favorite is this colorful one, but I also made one in this farmhouse neutral color that I could use indoors with all of my new green color fall decor. So I think they are super cute. I would love to know in the comments below which one is your favorite. Do you like the more traditional scarecrow or do you like this farmhouse neutral color fall one? But I think that plaid, that orange plaid, is what's making me fall in love with this guy. Thank you all so much for joining me today. I had so much fun on this project. I really did. I could see this being a super fun project to like get together with a group of friends or family. Me and my family and friends, we always get together and have craft days, and it's so much fun. We get together and have lunch, and then we all just sit around and have so much fun talking and making our crafts. So I think this is really a great project for that. You could just set out a lot of different ribbons, just all the supplies that you would need to make this, and then everybody just kind of grabs from the center and shares supplies and then makes their own customized little scarecrow. So there's a billion different ways that you can put together your scarecrow. If you make this project, please share it with me on Instagram. You just have to tag me at KraftsbyKatelyn. Make sure that you do put that tag there or I will never get to see it. And I really want to see you all if you make these scarecrows. Thank you again so much for joining me today. I had so much fun with this project and I really hope you enjoy it. I'll see you next time. Bye!